July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee walks into an apartment at 2:30 p.m. By 11 p.m., he's dead. What happened in those 32 minutes has been hidden for 50 years, until now. Before we dive into that fateful day, I need to tell you something that will change how you see Bruce Lee forever. Everything you think you know, the movies, the legend, the icon, that's just the surface. The real Bruce Lee? He was something far more dangerous to the establishment. He wasn't just breaking bones in movies. He was breaking barriers that powerful people wanted to keep intact. And some believe that's what got him killed. This isn't a conspiracy theory video. This is a deep investigation into the final hours of a man who threatened to change everything. A man who was about to become the biggest star on the planet. A man who had enemies in places you wouldn't expect. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about Bruce Lee's death. Let's rewind to 1973. Bruce Lee is 32 years old and standing at the peak of human achievement. He's just finished filming Enter the Dragon, a movie that will go on to make over $400 million and introduce Kung Fu to the Western world. But here's what makes Bruce different from every other martial artist of his time. He doesn't just want to be a star. He wants to revolutionize how the world thinks about fighting, about Eastern philosophy, about what the human body can achieve. In Hong Kong, he's already a massive celebrity. His previous films, The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, broke every box office record in Asian cinema. People lined up for blocks to see him. He made more money per film than anyone in Hong Kong history. But Bruce isn't satisfied. He knows Hollywood rejected him for years. When he pitched the idea for a TV show about a Shaolin monk wandering the American West, the executives loved it. But they didn't want Bruce as the star. They wanted a white actor. That show became Kung Fu, starring David Carradine. Bruce's concept, Bruce's philosophy, but not Bruce's face. That rejection lit a fire in him. He went back to Hong Kong and became so massive that Hollywood couldn't ignore him anymore. Enter the Dragon was his revenge, his ticket to global superstardom, and he knew it. In early 1973, Bruce is negotiating his next moves. He's talking to studios about multiple projects. He's planning to open a chain of martial arts schools across America. He's writing a book about his fighting philosophy. Jeet Kune Do That will revolutionize martial arts training. He's working 18-hour days, training in the morning, meeting with producers in the afternoon, choreographing fight scenes at night. His friends say he's obsessed. His wife Linda says he barely sleeps. But here's where it gets interesting. Bruce isn't just making movies. He's challenging the traditional martial arts establishment. Old-school kung fu masters in Hong Kong hate him because he teaches Westerners their secrets. He calls traditional martial arts organized despair and dry land swimming. He's making enemies. Powerful enemies who control the martial arts world. People who believe he's betraying Chinese culture by revealing ancient techniques to foreigners. And then there are the triads, the Chinese mafia that controls much of Hong Kong's entertainment industry. Bruce refuses to pay them protection money. He's one of the few actors who openly defies them. Some say that's a death sentence. May 10th, 1973. Just 2 months before his death, Bruce is in the dubbing room at Golden Harvest Studios. He's recording dialogue for Enter the Dragon. Suddenly he collapses. His assistant finds him convulsing on the floor, foaming at the mouth. His body temperature is 105 degrees. They rush him to the hospital, and doctors are baffled. They diagnose him with cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. They save his life, but nobody can explain what caused it. Bruce is in peak physical condition. He doesn't smoke, barely drinks, follows a strict diet. How does a 32-year-old athlete suddenly have brain swelling? The doctors give him a medication called mannitol to reduce the swelling. They tell him to rest. Bruce ignores them. Within days, he's back to training, working, pushing himself harder than ever. His friends notice he's acting strange, more paranoid, more intense. He tells his student Dan Inosanto that he feels like someone is watching him, that powerful people want him to fail. He starts having terrible headaches, but he won't stop working. He takes painkillers and keeps going. Some days he takes Equagesic, a strong painkiller that combines aspirin with a muscle relaxant called meprobamate. On July 18th, just 2 days before his death, Bruce is having dinner with his friend Robert Lee. He suddenly stops mid-conversation and says, "I feel strange, like something is wrong with my body." Robert asks if he should call a doctor. Bruce refuses, says he just needs to rest. That was the last normal conversation anyone had with Bruce Lee. Now we arrive at the day that changed everything. It's a Friday. Hong Kong is sweltering 95 degrees with brutal humidity. Bruce wakes up at his home in Kowloon Tong around 8 a.m. He has breakfast with Linda and their two children, Brandon and Shannon. At 10 a.m., Raymond Chow, Bruce's producer and the head of Golden Harvest Studios, picks him up. They're supposed to meet with George Lazenby, the former James Bond actor, to discuss a new film called Game of Death. But first, they need to stop by the apartment of Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei. She's supposed to be in the new movie, and they want to go over the script with her. Now here's where the story gets complicated. Betty Ting Pei was 26 years old, beautiful, and one of the most famous actresses in Hong Kong, and there are rumors, never confirmed, that she and Bruce were having an affair. Linda Lee has always denied this. Betty has denied it, but the fact remains. Bruce spent his final hours in her apartment. They arrive at Betty's apartment at 67 Beacon Hill Road around 2 p.m. It's a small place, nothing fancy. Raymond, Bruce, and Betty go over the script. They're laughing, joking, planning the movie. Around 4 p.m., Bruce complains of a headache. Betty offers him an Equagesic tablet, the same painkiller he's been taking for weeks. Bruce takes it and lies down in Betty's bedroom to rest while Raymond continues discussing business in the living room. Raymond leaves around 5 p.m. to attend a dinner meeting. The plan is for Bruce to rest for an hour. Then Raymond will pick up both Bruce and Betty around 8 p.m., and they'll all go to dinner with George Lazenby. Bruce is alone with Betty. He's lying in her bed. It's now around 5:30 p.m. What happens next is one of the biggest mysteries in entertainment history. According to Betty, Bruce is resting peacefully. She watches TV. She checks on him around 7:30 p.m. to wake him for dinner. He won't wake up. She shakes him. Nothing. She slaps his face. No response. She panics and calls Raymond Chow. Raymond rushes back to the apartment. He tries to wake Bruce. Can't. He calls his personal doctor, Dr. Chu Fo Huai, who lives nearby. Dr. Chu arrives within minutes. He finds Bruce unconscious, not breathing, no pulse. He performs CPR. He gives Bruce emergency injections. Nothing works. They call an ambulance. But here's the strange part. They don't tell the ambulance to come to Betty's apartment. They say Bruce is at his own home. Why? Because if the press finds out Bruce died in Betty's apartment, the scandal would be enormous. The ambulance takes Bruce to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Doctors try everything. Electric shocks to restart his heart. Adrenaline shots. Nothing. At 11:30 p.m., Bruce Lee is pronounced dead. The official cause? Death by misadventure. Cerebral edema caused by an allergic reaction to Equagesic, a painkiller, one tablet, and the most physically fit actor in the world is dead. Does that make sense to you? Within hours, the conspiracy theories begin. And honestly, some of them are hard to dismiss. First, there's the triad theory. The Chinese mafia doesn't forget when someone disrespects them. Bruce refused to pay them, refused to work with their actors. Some people believe they had him poisoned. Then there's the rival martial artist theory. Bruce humiliated traditional kung fu masters by proving his Jeet Kune Do was superior. In Chinese culture, that's a massive insult. Some believe a jealous master hired someone to kill him. There's the curse theory. Some believe Bruce was killed by an ancient Chinese curse because he revealed martial arts secrets to Westerners. Sounds crazy, right? But 8 years later, Bruce's son Brandon dies on a movie set under mysterious circumstances at age 28. Both father and son dead in their prime while making movies. The coincidence is haunting, but here's the theory that actually has evidence. Bruce was worked to death. In the months before he died, Bruce was operating on a superhuman schedule. He was filming, training, choreographing, doing his own stunts, meeting with producers, planning his next 5 movies. He was taking painkillers to mask the pain. He was ignoring warning signs from his body. Some doctors believe Bruce had heat stroke that day. Hong Kong was brutally hot. He'd been working out intensely. He took a painkiller that made him drowsy. He fell into a deep sleep in a hot apartment. His body couldn't regulate its temperature. His brain swelled. He died. It's not glamorous. It's not a murder mystery, but it might be the truth. The problem? The autopsy was suspicious. The Hong Kong coroner ruled it was an allergic reaction, but some medical experts disagree. Bruce had taken Equagesic before without problems. Why would he suddenly be allergic? And why did Raymond Chow and Betty Ting Pei lie about where Bruce was when he collapsed? Why did they tell the ambulance to go to Bruce's house instead of Betty's apartment? What were they hiding? Betty Ting Pei's career was destroyed after Bruce's death. The public blamed her. She received death threats. Some called her a murderer. She lived in hiding for years. Raymond Chow never fully recovered his reputation either. People whispered that he knew more than he was saying. And Linda Lee? She defended Bruce's legacy for the rest of her life. She always maintained that his death was a tragic accident, nothing more. Enter the Dragon was released 1 month after Bruce Lee died. It became the highest-grossing martial arts film of all time. Bruce never got to see it. He never got to see himself become a global icon. Never got to see kung fu movies take over Hollywood. Never got to see generations of fighters, from Jackie Chan to Jet Li to Donnie Yen to every MMA fighter today study his techniques. Bruce Lee revolutionized action cinema. Before him, fight scenes were stiff, rehearsed, unrealistic. He brought speed, fluidity, real technique to the screen. Every action movie you've ever loved exists because of what Bruce created. But more than that, he changed how the world sees martial arts. Before Bruce, Americans thought kung fu was a joke. After Bruce, everyone wanted to learn it. He built a bridge between Eastern and Western culture that still stands today. His philosophy, Jeet Kune Dois, now taught in gyms worldwide. Be water, my friend, has become one of the most quoted phrases in modern culture. His training methods are studied by professional athletes in every sport. Bruce Lee lived 32 years. In that time, he became a philosopher, a martial artist, a teacher, a father, a husband, and a legend. But here's what haunts me. What could he have accomplished with more time? He was about to sign deals for 10 more movies. He was planning to open martial arts schools across America and Europe. He was writing books that would change how people train. He was going to be the first Asian megastar in Hollywood history. All of it ended in Betty Ting Pei's apartment on a hot July afternoon. Some say he was murdered. Some say it was an accident. Some say it was fate. But here's what I believe. Bruce Lee burned so bright that his body couldn't contain it. He pushed himself beyond human limits. He refused to slow down, refused to rest, refused to acknowledge that even the greatest warriors have limitations. And maybe that's the real lesson. Not that Bruce Lee was invincible, but that he was human. Incredibly, impossibly talented, but human. He taught us that limits are meant to be broken, but he also showed us tragically that some limits exist for a reason. Bruce Lee died 50 years ago, but his impact grows stronger every year. His movies are still watched by millions. His philosophy is still studied. His techniques are still taught. His son Brandon carried on his legacy until his own tragic death. His daughter Shannon keeps his memory alive today. And somewhere in Hong Kong, in a small apartment on Beacon Hill Road, there's a bedroom where the world lost one of its greatest talents. Was it murder? Was it an accident? Was it fate? We may never know, but we know this. Bruce Lee changed the world in 32 years. And the question we should ask isn't, how did he die? It's how did he accomplish so much while he was alive? That's the real mystery. That's the real legend. Be water, my friend. If Bruce Lee's story moved you, subscribe to see more untold stories of legends who changed the world. Like if you believe Bruce Lee's legacy will live forever. And comment below, what's your favorite Bruce Lee moment? Let's keep his memory alive.